Leaders, real life leaders.
Hello, everyone. We're so excited that you're with us today. And today our title is Stop Trading Time for Money. And we have a special guest, Jay Kinder, one of my favorite people. And he is an absolute master at Stop Trading Time for Money. So Jay, welcome.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about, we're gonna be talking about all kinds of different ways. So one of the things that I want to start talking about is give us one of your top, well, let's just dive in, right? For the
right.
top way that's giving you the most amount of money right now in passive income.
Yeah. So, I think it's such a great question, and I think it eludes us, right? Like we all probably read Rich Dad Poor Dad, 20 years ago. And we have this ambition to build a successful business and having a cash flow, but then you gotta you're trying to think about, how do I not pay as much in taxes, and then hopefully I have some left over to invest somewhere, and where's the best place to put that that's going to create me some passive income? Because the whole game we're all trying to play, like all of us are trying to play this game at different levels, but we're trying to get to a place where we have enough passive income coming in that covers our monthly bills, so that we can stop trading our time for money and do the things that we want to do in life and be financially protected, right? And so I actually, as living in Puerto Rico the last 4 years, obviously we'll talk about why I made that move and that decision, and how revenue shares helped me with that, and paying 4% tax. This is great. Being here, but moving back to the States, which is what our goal was this year. The last 2 years, I had to say, what is my investment strategy? What is my philosophy on where I'm going to invest money and how I'm going to create more passive income by investing in whatever assets or whatever vehicles that are all out there? And so we just started doing all the research, and it came down to what was going to lower my taxes. That was a huge important piece of it, because that's the biggest amount of what you have is what you end up paying in taxes. If you cannot pay it in taxes and invest that money and get a return on that money, then you'd rather do that. And so apartments allow you to do that. I used to invest in single family real estate. And where did I buy? In Lawton, Oklahoma, where I was from. Because why? Because I knew Lawton, Oklahoma. I knew what a deal was. And, I thought, buying all these rental properties from all the books that I read, that was going to be what built the most wealth for me. What I didn't realize was that when you look at multifamily and you look at where you would invest, you start with the location first. What are the migration patterns? What are the diversity of jobs in the area? So me and Lawton Fort Sill, what I didn't know, at 29 properties that I'm managing, they're all over the place. They're all different ages. One needs a roof this month. One needs new carpet this month. I'm not seeing the decision of investing in Lawton would have been an absolute no, because it's 38% of its job source is coming from the military. So if there's a president that comes in and they cut spending in the military, it affects delinquency. It affects vacancy rates. It affects everything. But I wasn't able to see that because they're not all under one roof. They're all over the place. And I wasn't able to see that this was just not a good choice of a location to invest in, because it gets.
I'm so glad you said that, because listen, my mom lives in Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Yep.
When my dad passed away, and she married a doctor in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And now they decided that they wanted to buy all these rental properties there. I'm like, Mom, you hate Jonesboro. Why in the world are you buying rental properties in Jonesboro, Arkansas? Like, yep. I'm like,
and I'm telling you, I didn't know any better. I didn't know. It's like anything else that you find. It's you don't know what you don't know, and until you get. And for me, it's always been, and I haven't made a post about this. I just turned 47 3 days ago now. And, like if you go back in my life and look at the decisions that I've made, it's always been around. I went to an event, usually reluctantly, and I learned something I didn't know. And I came back in it, and it ultimately changed the trajectory of my life. That happened for me when I went to Craig Proctor's event, and I sat next to a guy selling 400 homes a year. And I was like, how in the hell is he doing that? But I saw that it was possible. And I had never thought that way before until I saw a guy doing it. And I was like, there's all these people doing it. I guess it can be done. So there's a way to do it. And then I learned vacuum up as much as I could about how they did it. And I went out and did it. Same thing with EXP, went to an event, learned about it. I sat next to Rob Flick. He was making $156,000 a month. I said, how did you do that? He told me what he did. I said, I think I can do that. So I ended up coming to EXP. And the same thing happened with apartments. I got invited 10 times, didn't go the first 9. finally go to one of Cardone's events, and I learned about investing in multifamily, what I never had learned before. And I feel like I was right. I'm in real estate. How did I not know this? But when you invest in multifamily real estate, like this property we have, Cityscape Arts, and it's a class A and an A plus location, meaning when you do all the research on the location, the job diversity, the shopping, it's downtown in the loop. You can't just build something there. There's no new product being built in downtown Fort Worth. There's none scheduled to deliver the next 2 years. Increasing the rent bumps, the way multifamily is valued is different than single family. And this is the big miss people get. You can have a single family property that you're renting out, and maybe you're making a little cash flow on that property, but it doesn't double its value of that property is based upon historical sales of other homes that sell. That's not how commercial real estate is valued. It's valued based on net operating income. So if you come in and you make it more efficient, you lower the cost as it costs to operate that, you raise the rents and you increase the net operating income, the valuation of that property goes up. So over 7 to 10 years, commercial property consistently doubles in value. So you go in, you invest in those deals, you can do a cost segregation, which is going to give you a negative K1 the first year against your active income if you're in real estate. That's a huge chunk. So about now it's at 40%. If Trump gets back in, it could go back to 100%. So you basically can take all the write-offs that you would write off, like washers, dryers, the age of how long windows last. You can take all of that and put it in the first year. You get a negative K1 year one. So now your investment, part of that is a tax deduction going in. And then you implement the strategy, the team that does this. You don't have to do this. You can be an LP invested in this deal, but the GP team job is to find these deals, execute the strategy, raise the rents, increase every little monthly revenue stream that you attach to a property. Oh, we're not charging for pets. Oh, we're not charging for parking spaces, preferred parking spaces. There's all these strategies you can do. Like we looked at 318 units. I walked in Arlington before I came back to Puerto Rico. And we walked the property, 318 doors, and I think probably more than half of them don't have washer and dryer connections inside the unit, but they have big walk-in closets. It's just a matter of putting and on the other side is the bathtub. So you put in a washer dryer stackable unit, people will pay $50 a month more for that property, so they don't have to leave to go do their laundry. And then if you put the washer and dryer in there for them, so they don't have to buy it, they'll pay another $50. That's $100 a month times 300 units. And then you multiply that times the cap rate of this property or divide it by the cap rate. You actually know what you're adding in value to that property. So when you go refinance on that property, now it's worth, so the one in Cityscape in year 5, we're projecting to be worth $21 million just with implementing $50 rent bumps. People don't move over $50, right? You can't move down the street. We're $238 below every other property. So if they leave and they go move into another property, they're going to have to pay $238 more for the same unit somewhere else. So we've got this room to slowly raise the rents over time, increase the value of that property. So in year 5, we refinance. I'm going to get 1.5 times. If I put $100,000 in, I'm going to get $150,000 of my money back. I'm still in the deal, and I'm still getting monthly payments every month from my investment in the deal. I'm still in the same percentage, but I've been recapitalized, tax-free, because it's a loan. You borrowed money. It's a refinance. You're not getting taxed on that money. Now, and this is what people don't understand, now I can take that $150,000, I can put it into another deal that's maybe earning 8%. Now I'm making 15% or 16% on my money. And that's how you roll your money and increase your, if we sell that property, I'm going to get a lump sum, 1031 that into another one. If we keep it forever, I get paid forever. It's an infinite return. So, but that property's value is going to go up if we sold it in year 10 and it's worth 26 million based on just the average rents go up in downtown Fort Worth over the last 20 years, 3.2% or 4.2%. In our pro forma, we have 3%, super conservative, saying maybe it's not going to do what it did the last 20 years for whatever reason. But that's what we put in the pro forma. If we hit those targets, I'm going to exit out of that property with a 2.2x on multiple on my money. And so it's about putting your money to work for you, and it's invested in an asset. So like the other investments that I made living in Puerto Rico, I meet all these rich people, all these billionaires, people all have great ideas. Some of them good, some of them bad. But you're invested in private equity. So you're getting into deals that aren't publicly traded. They're not paying dividends. So you're not, if you put this money in the stock market and you got to, when you look at all the investments, like I'm trying to be super conservative because I'm not normally, I'm very, very I'm risk tolerant, too risk tolerant. And so, I'm trying to change my ways to, what is the safest way to get doubles and triples on your money instead of, hey, let's see, hopefully this thing works out over here. You're investing in deals that could go to zero. Like I had one I invested in called Hopper. And, I had my strategy for evaluating whether I was going to invest or not that I learned was this guy he had hundreds of millions of dollars and didn't put his own money into it, but he was raising all this money. So if the guy that's the founder of the company is not investing his own money in the deal, I don't invest, period. So Skydio, which is the second largest drone manufacturer on the planet, and they are leading in technology and leading in military application and all these other things. And the Lenz, it's Michael Lenz, who lives here in Puerto Rico, he put $250 million of his own money into this company. If he believes in it that much, I have to believe in, because you're betting on the team. It's not just the strategy, the idea, the company, and what they're doing. It's the team around them that you're investing in. So I would invest in that deal. But I started to create this philosophy about what I was going to invest in, and as I'm looking to move back to the States, because living on an island is great, but I promise you don't want to live here forever. You'll miss some things like Target. Ask my wife. And you'll miss some things about some of the efficiencies of the States. And you don't want to, I can't sit on the beach all day forever. This is not, it's not a forever thing. It was a good thing for me from a tax perspective for a period of time. But now I'm looking at, I need to invest in assets so I'm protected. They can't go to zero. They need to be cash flow day one, because a lot of these investment deals that people pitch me, even here, they're investing me deals about, hey, we're going to buy this property, we're going to demo this, and we're going to build all that. And then if all that goes well, it's going to pay out this, right? And then what happens is, well, that didn't work out. Well, we couldn't get this deal, or the cost went up over here. All these things happen, and you end up not getting this great return. Well, if you're buying assets that cash flow day one, meaning they're 95% occupied day one, and they're already netting $700,000 a year, the valuation of that property, the banks love loaning money on these assets. It's very clear what you're getting, and now you're just going and you're implementing efficiencies it's a business. Economies of scale. What can we go in and do and implement that's going to increase the valuation of that property over the next 5 to 7 years? And you get the double on the exit. So you get, a double of your money you put in, you get a refinance halfway through where you're recapitalized, you got all your money back, you're getting paid every single month. You're winning in the cash flow game. So if you invest enough money, you're getting a 6, 7, 8% return on that money. We call it the drip, your monthly check you get, and you're moving closer to financial freedom. If it pays your house payment, then it pays your house and your car, then it pays all your main core monthly expenses, and that's the game you're trying to get into. And then you get to a point where you have enough passive income that you can decide if you want to trade your time for money. If you want to go sell more houses to create more income, you can, or if you don't want to, you don't have to.
I don't know about you guys, but I am stressed. And if you're feeling overwhelmed this holiday season, then I get it. With all the family get-togethers, it is just a relentless source of stress. But anyway, there is something that I've got called Stress Guardian, and it's actually made by Bioptimizers, the people who make the magnesium breakthrough, which I love, love, love. But anyway, they are literally made this new product. It has 14 adaptogenic herbs, and it just regulates your stress. I just actually took some right this second, and it's awesome. If you go to stressguardian.com/wasteaway and put in waste away for 10% off your first order, it's stressguardian.com/wasteaway. Go there now.
My thing that I'm the most passionate about is really stop trading time for money. Like
Yep.
I'm just say it. And the more I feel like I plant seeds, and then once I plant those seeds, they start growing, and then they get bigger and bigger. But creating passive income streams instead of just relying on the, just sell a house, and then,
Right. I call it the transaction treadmill.
Transaction treadmill. No, enough
Yep.
is enough. But one thing I wanted to mention that you said I want to highlight, earning a higher income is undoubtedly important, but
Yep.
it's also not the only factor that determines financial success. It's not how much money you make, but it's how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you can keep it for. And this is the thing. I want everyone to just start thinking bigger and start thinking outside of the box. So we're going to talk about, for passive income for real estate, but I'm going to also share with you guys some other things that I'm doing as well that's making passive income for me, multiple streams that we're talking about. So let's first start talking about if you are in real estate and you want to make rev share, of why I believe EXP's model is the best, and why we merged with them. I want you to kind of explain the model a little bit of how people can explain it to other people, and also explain why you believe, a little bit about how much money you're making on this, how new people, a lot of times people say, oh, well, you had to get in, 5 years ago if you wanted to be getting, you needed to get in on the ground floor.
Right.
Well, what is it, how you've seen people who've recently joined and have also made a lot of money? So
yeah, 100%. I'm just going to show a couple of slides just to give perspective, because it's important, I think, to understand exponential is a different animal. Okay, it's the eighth wonder of the world is how money compounds. And this model and the reason this comp plan for recruiting is such a big deal. First of all, everybody has to understand the reason this is disrupting, and every company from now on will all have revenue share and will all have stock, is because EXP completely turned the model on its head. Most of these companies that are out there, the legacy companies, all had regions and franchise locations based on physical location offices. Somebody would buy that, they would recruit agents within a territory, and that was all their opportunity was. So some KWs like you can't, you get to 200-300, and that's kind of you've maxed it out. You're probably never going to get more than a certain number of people to join a brokerage, and that's your opportunity if you bought that franchise. So agents never had an opportunity to make money from recruiting. So we never recruited unless you built a team. You tell people you like the place, you might get a card, a coffee gift card or whatever, but there was no compensation aligned to it. Because we don't have territories and we don't have anybody that owns any particular physical location and those agents in that area, it means you can recruit anybody anywhere in the world, and they attached a network marketing comp plan to the recruiting. So what that means is network marketing, and it's just so you understand network marketing. And I didn't understand it when I joined. I'd probably bought several things before, but never really truly understood it. Network marketing, it has a very aggressive compensation plan about how to take a product to market through word of mouth. People telling other people, telling other people, telling other people. It's just a model. It's a way to do it. You can sell your stuff through Walmart, or you can sell it. It's just a distribution channel, a way to take a product to market. So when you take that comp plan that's very aggressive, that allows you to make money off of people that you bring and people they bring and so on and so forth, there's multiplication at play here that is in no other business model. There doesn't exist. You can't go somewhere and get paid multiples off of people that are 5 or 6 people deep. In real estate, this was very, very aggressive to do revenue share off the top, not profit share, which is after there's all these expenses. If there's anything left, we'll pay you some profit share. By the way, Keller Williams just settled their lawsuit on profit share because they've been taking it away from people. I didn't get to read the article yet, but I'm interested to see how that went. But no, you could never know, well, if it's going to profit or not, because whoever's running that business can buy a bunch of furniture, they can redo the offices, they can do anything they want. So you never really knew with profit share. But this iteration that Glenn Sanford did is revenue share. It's revenue share off the top. It's a knowable number. You know how much you're going to get paid off of every agent as they close transactions. And where it for me, and I'll show y'all my revenue share. It's been this year, it'll be around $3 million in revenue share. I've recruited 70 something agents. If I was hired to be a recruiter, I would have been fired. I've only recruited about 3 agents a month or less for the last 7 years. That's it. That's the work that I did. Now my group, those people, they recruited 400 people, who recruited 700, who recruited 1,000, who recruited 1,500, who recruited 2,000 or 3,000 people. I get paid on all of that work that's being done. That's the leverage in the model. That's not
and
me.
Hold on. Just stop sharing for 1 second. Okay. Stop sharing for 1 second, then you can reshare. Yep. So I need to make sure that I say this, because someone said it to me and I was like, this is true. So Canzel created the model where the first 3 levels open up right away. And guess what? EXP copied that model. So every one of you people who better be licking my shoe tops, because leadership told me the reason why that we have the first 3 levels open up is because we copied it from you, and we joked around, and I said, that's
Yeah.
fine because I copied so much stuff from
Yeah,
you.
and
And we
that's
started laughing.
yeah, no, that's all. It's awesome, and this was something that I think people kind of start to recognize this at a certain point is when other people see a model that's working extremely well, which you can't argue that EXP's model is working extremely well. Fastest growing company in history to do what we've done. It's been an incredible ride. Not perfect along the way, a lot of challenges along the way, but pretty damn good, right? And so everybody that comes along, and Glenn said this five years ago, he said there's going to be competition, and they're going to iterate on our model and try to make it better. And they've all come in and tried to do a little bit different this, a little bit different that. The benefit of being an EXP is like if somebody comes out with something good, like Instagram's a great example, right? Like when TikTok is doing, all this stuff and they're coming out, Snapchat comes out with all these new features. What does the number one player in the category do? Facebook comes out and says, boom, we're going to drop reels on them. And now anything that somebody else does that's good, we can just copy it because we have the most eyeballs already. We can take those things and adopt them into our model if it's better. And that's one thing we're agile. One of our core values is being agile. So when we see something that we like and we're all like, hey, this is good for agents. Like if we can unlock the first 3 levels for everybody, that's better because it means you don't have to recruit near as many people individually, and you're going to get more revenue share. You're more likely to stick with it. And so, we're taking things that we see and we're adapting and adopting and making our model better as other things that we see that come into the marketplace.
And you guys also copied that you guys had one broker in each area. And then I said,
Yep.
we're having multiple brokers in each area.
Right.
And then you guys were like, okay, we're going to have more
Right.
brokers in every area. So once you guys started getting to the point that you started copying all of my stuff that made it better, I said, okay, we're going to have to do a merger here.
Right. It's the unfortunate and fortunate really, because being in the number one spot in the category, we can do anything anybody else can do. So if we see something better and it's truly better, then we want to be able to offer that too. And the same thing, Real had a co-sponsorship deal, and we looked at it, and we talked to people at Real. I have friends at Real. I talked to them about it. Do you like it? Do you love it? What do you not like about it? What do you hate about it? What do you love about it? And we got this overwhelming response that everybody liked it. And so we went to leadership and we're like, listen, we need to do some type of co-sponsorship. And they're like, they looked at it from a tech perspective. It's going to take 12 months to do, but they were open to it. And we just rolled out our own co-sponsorship last week. And what that allows us to do is if I recruit somebody and I need them in my front line as an FLQA, as a qualified person, I can place them under somebody, and that revenue share stream will go to that person. So I'll lose out a little bit on revenue share by placing them under somebody else, but I get to keep the FLQA. Now I'm able to help people better, and I'm able to cross, pollinate with other people and partner with other people to add more value to an agent. If they need somebody locally to kind of support them, I can do that. So those are things that I love seeing, the iterations that are happening. And when we see something that's better, we're able to just adapt, adopt, and apply it. And so it is a key thing, but you are correct. We did copy that off of you. It's take it as a compliment.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would be concerned if we're sitting here and somebody creates a model and it's better and we're like, hey, we should do this, and they don't do anything. I would be like, okay, we're sitting duck just for somebody to pick us off, if we're not going to try to get better. And that's not how Glenn operates. If it's better for the agent, he's going to say yes. And so, those are little iterations that happen over time. It's been fun to see that, we're not just, resting on our laurels. We're always trying to improve, and Glenn runs everything through a filter very simply. Is this going to be better for the agents? Then the answer is usually yes, if we can make it work in the model. And so, that's refreshing to me, because it would be very frustrating if I saw something better and we're not doing nothing about it. And again, this is where leverage happens, right? You go sell a house, next month you got to sell it again. You go sell 3 houses this month, you got to sell 3 again next month. If you went and recruited one agent, the difference, the multiplication from everybody recruiting just one person a month to 2 people a month to 3 people a month, look at the difference in how fast it grows, right? So, that's multiplication. So this is what is possible if you help people go bring a friend, help everybody else bring a friend. The multiplication is really where the opportunity is. And this is what, when I moved over to EXP, I did this math. And this is revenue share is a passive income, and that when you bring a friend over, they close the house, you didn't do nothing, and all of a sudden you get $800 in your deposited into your bank account. I promise you're going to be really excited about that $800. Why? Because you didn't do anything for it, right? It hits different than when you close a deal. It's always great to close that big deal and make a $20,000 commission. That always feels good, but that money that comes out of nowhere, it starts to add up, and you start to pay attention to it. And the reality is if you're making $1,000 a month in passive income, any vehicle that you want, you have to have enough money to invest $240,000 after taxes into some vehicle. This is assuming a 5% return, so a safe vehicle. There's plenty of places you could put it that's safe. You could be more risky and get a greater return, or it could go down. But the difference is, look how much money you have to make active income to create passive income. To make $5,000 a month, you got to have 1.2 million. Do the math. How many years are you on a track to get to 1.2 million after taxes invested safely into investments? How long is it going to take you to do that to get to 5,000 a month? And EXP and revenue share, you can do it way faster. There's no investment of your money, so there's no restriction. It's just a matter of learning a new skill, which is how to invite agents to look at the opportunity. And so it's a skill like we were saying earlier, Chantel. I can show anybody on this call how to effectively call FSBOs and expireds and close more deals. It's a skill, and if you learn that skill, you can get better, you can convert higher, you can get listings, and you can eat off of that forever. And so it's a skill that works in any marketplace. But it is a skill, and it can be learned. It's the same thing with inviting agents to EXP. You can learn the skill of how to invite an agent and recruit 2, 3, 5 people every single month. And then we'll teach them how to do that too. The same process. It has to be duplicatable. Show them how to do it, and they can do it too. And now what's happening is it's not based on the work you're doing. It's based on, you get to a certain point where the agents in your organization are recruiting people, not you. And that's where the leverage comes from. It's not all about the work you do. It's not about you being a recruiter. It's about you finding people that also understand the goal is to get to passive income. And this might be the best vehicle to do that, given that I don't have millions of dollars set aside that I can invest into something to create passive income. So this to me was the catalyst for, buying assets and investing in other asset-based, asset-backed passive income vehicles, if that makes sense.
If you have $240,000 and you put $240,000 in the bank, if at a 5% return, you're only making about $1,000 a month. That's it. So that's all you're making in passive income. So you have to find other ways to be able to make passive income, unless you're just, with that chart, you've got tons and tons of money. So with this, and again, we're going to teach you all kinds of different ways to make passive income, not just this. This is just one vehicle that we're going to teach you. And when you start hanging out with bigger players and people who think big, you are going to start acting big. Just like what you said, you have to start shaking hands and start linking arms with people who think bigger than you. And then you will start thinking bigger. It's the only way that you can do it. And this is the reason why I made the decision to kind of lock arms with EXP, because the thinkers that they're there are bigger thinkers. And that's a huge piece of the pie.
I want to give this to you guys right now, because what I saw when I joined EXP was that there was nobody that had built a system and a process for how to do agent attraction. Nobody. So what I did, and this is what I always do, and it's not because I'm smart. In fact, my quote is, I'm not the smartest kid in class. I always sit next to them. Okay. So, I think, I tell people I graduated in the top 25 of my class, but there was only 36 of us. Okay. So I'm not the smartest guy, but I'm really good at copying what works, right? So I've been very fortunate that if there's something I'm trying to learn, I pay whoever the best in the world is at it, and I go learn from that person, and then I go do exactly what they tell me, and that served me very well. And so what I put a link in here to the training that we created on agent attraction. It is a system. It is a process. And if you learn the system and follow the process, and every single slide in there, there's nothing missing. It is exactly how we've helped other people build a 1,000-person org from scratch. These are people that didn't have influence. They're not an influencer. They don't have a big following on TikTok or any of that kind of stuff. These are just average, normal people, just like all of us, that were willing to learn the process and execute what we taught. So I just put that in the link in here. It's all the training, everything. You can go through all that, and I highly recommend going through it and just learning it. And be a good student. What most people make the mistake of is they try to recruit. It's not recruiting, it's trying to help people. How do we help people? Find people that want some help. And it's not a hit list, it's a help list. And there's a lot of people in real estate that are struggling. So this is an opportunity for us to help them. And it's not heavy for you because we do all the work. All the systems and processes for production based, it's all there. So if you go to honeybadgernation.com, all the training, anything that you need in order to grow your business, there's no question, Chantel, myself, we can help you grow your business. There's no question. Y'all know that, right? If you want to go sell more real estate, we can show you exactly how to do that. But there's also an opportunity for you to create passive income.
I want to say one thing that you said, because it's so good. You just said that if someone, because people think Jay Kinder is the best recruiter on the planet. And you just said, on average, you're only attracting 2 or 3 people a month. And if you were hired as a national recruiter, you'd probably be fired. The fact that we have opened up the first 3 levels, you don't have to be the most amazing recruiter in the world. You can attract maybe 1 person or 2 people. And now it's like a huge funnel that opens up.
This is so important, right? So 1% of the agents that I get paid on are people that I've recruited. 1%. I have 83 agents that I personally invested in 7 years. That is not a lot of people. Now, there's been some that have come and gone. So it's probably like 150, 160 or something along those lines. So people get in the business, get out of the business. I can't, change that. That's going to always be the case. But there's currently 83 because there's 4 husband-wife teams or whatever. But it's 79, individual agents that I currently have. Those agents recruited 390 agents. Now, I would like to think that I had something to do with that and that I helped or I jumped on a call, but not for all of them probably. And then those people went out and they invited and brought 740 agents, and then 1,058, and then 1,282. Now, all of this right here, I had probably little or nothing to do with, if I'm being completely honest. I would like to say that we built this community, we did all these things, we had all this value, and that's led to us recruiting a lot of people, and it probably has helped, no doubt about it. But I didn't actually have to get on a call. I didn't have to actually do anything. These people joined because someone else invited them. Okay. So, and this is something we talked about too. The reason this model is significantly bigger in terms of opportunity, if you look at over 55% of my revenue is coming from level 6 and 7. You don't get the kind of growth in the multiplication of this until you get deeper in the organization. So the majority of my revenue share and the agent over time, it's not immediately this way, but over time that will become your biggest levels. Those other models don't pay out on these levels. So that's like cutting up 50% of the opportunity out of the opportunity when you only have 5 levels. This compounding effect gets bigger every level. So that is a huge distinction. And again, so it's not just the work you're going to do, it's the work of others that's going to be what, and part of what I struggled with this model was that I actually have no control over whether that's going to happen or not. And it bothers me because I like to do things where I can move the needle, right? Like if I'm doing the work, I know what I'm capable of and I'm moving the needle. And the needle's just pegged the whole time. Like you can try to do everything you can to get people to do it, but some people are going to be out there doing it. Some people are not. And that's just going to be how it is. And so, it's a matter of finding people that a handful of people that think like you think and that want to create passive income. Yeah, I want to make, $500,000 a year selling real estate, but I'd like to get to 20,000 a month in passive income through revenue share. That would change my life, right? Like I don't need to go to 750,000 in income selling real estate. I can stay at 500,000 and create 250 in passive income that pays me for 10 years. That's going to multiply and grow. That's a way better, use of your time as opposed to what I used to coach people to do is, hey, let's go from 100 to 200 to 400 to 500 transactions. And you're going to work, more hours and you're going to have, very transactional. You erase the board every month and got to do it again. And it's not multiplying. There's no multiplication effect to it. It's just, income based on what you're actually doing with your time. This is the transaction treadmill. And they taught all of us that got into real estate this. They trained us based on the awards and the award ceremonies, and we all wanted to be on stage and we all wanted to get the awards for selling the most houses. And so what were our goals? Transaction goals. That's not the goal. The goal is you can't take transactions to the bank. You can't take awards to the bank. It is about net income, period. That is the goal. How much net income? The revenue that I made in revenue share is 95% margin. I have no expenses. So like there's literally almost no expenses, a very small amount of money. It goes out for the money that I'm creating in revenue share. So every other business I've ever owned, it's maybe 10 or 20% is the margin that goes to the bottom line. So I got to make $10 million in my coaching company for me and Mike to make $1 million a piece. And that's a lot of people to manage. It's a lot of headaches to manage. It's a lot of hours. It's there's no days off, and I can generate $1 million of income from that business, or I could generate $1 million and have none of those expenses, none of those people. And that's what we saw in this model is super high margin, an opportunity to create passive income by helping others. And for me, this is important. I think a lot of people get to this point, and hopefully some of you feel this too, is like, what my fulfillment meter is. So I did an event in Cleveland called Agent to CEO, and we teach people how to go from being an agent to being the CEO and running a business. And it is hard to do. Let me tell you, it is really, really hard to do what Chantel has done, what I've done in building businesses. Very hard to do. But if you want to do it, we can help you do it. And so we do this event. And at the event, a guy comes up to me. He's the #1 Century 21 agent in the world. And I was there 7 or 8 years ago, and he asked me a question, and he said, "You want to know what you told me?" And I'm like, "I have no idea. Whatever I told you, you went out and did something, and now you're #1 in the world. So I can't wait. I hopefully said something smart." And he told me what I told him, and it was about focusing on the listing side of the business and shifting to building his own personal brand, which is what I had done. And it was the advice I would give anybody based on where he was at the time. I just joined EXP, or I was about to join EXP. So I had not had the experience of having revenue share. And so he came up to me and said, "Would you give me that same advice today?" And I said, "I wouldn't." I said, "I would not give you that same advice today. I would give you different advice today. I would tell you to leverage what you've built to go attract other people to this company and get paid passively. And you wouldn't be working weekends and you wouldn't be working evenings." And that's what I learned, right? So like I learned something new, but I bump into the guy. But what fills my tank is when I get to meet people and I helped them and I said something to them that helped change the trajectory of their business or their life. Like, I want to do more of that. Like, that to me is not work. Like, my cup is fullest when I'm having those one-on-one conversations with somebody who wants my help and is trying to do something and I can help them. And so for me, it's not about the money as much as it is about like, am I spending my day doing things that I feel fulfilled at the end of the day?
Let me ask you real quick. Can you show real quick what you've made so far this year?
Yeah.
Or you can do it last month.
I think I can click on this. So, and keep in mind, like, so this is the lowest number of real estate transactions annually we've seen in 20 years, right? So we're headed for 3.9 million sales across the US. This is down 40% over the last 2 years. This is the lowest it'll ever be, because this is a time that when more sales happen in real estate, this number goes way up. And so this is the lightest that it's been. So this is every single month just deposited into my account. And April was 300,000. And you go back a couple of years, it was more because there was more sales, right? So 432,000 in 1 month. It's cyclical, right? So we know that in the wintertime there's less home sales than there is in the summertime. So my revenue share is paid out based upon number of home sales. And so, it's every single month, it's $250,000 a month, every single month at minimum. So that's just getting deposited into my account, whether I answer the phone or not, whether I get up or not, whether I get on this call or not, that money gets deposited every month, no matter what I do. That is life changing. And I understood that when I saw Rob Flick and he showed me his check was $156,000 in a month. And I asked him, "How did you do it?" And he told me how he did it. And I knew that he didn't do what I know. And that was how to use marketing and digital marketing to create an offer it's how I sold products to real estate agents. I've been doing it for 7 years. Okay. Anything that you're going to do is going to take time for you to see the results. I didn't get big checks the first 6 months of doing this. It was little bitty checks. But I stayed the course because I understood the math, and the opportunity was bigger than anywhere else I could have pointed my attention. Right. And so that's what's possible. And, Dan Hillsman, my favorite stories are the most average people that would say, and Dan Hillsman told me when he joined, he's like, "I don't know about this revenue share, Jay, but I know you can help me grow my business. So, I'm going to go ahead and come over and join." And then, he asked me about the revenue share, and I said, do this. And he went and did that, and it worked. And then he kept doing, and this is all in the training. He followed the process, created a wealth chart. He made a list of people. People were reaching out to him when he made the switch over. He had conversations. He put them on a call with me. I helped him recruit every single one of them. And I did 150 three-way calls with Dan Hilsman. And, you look up 5 years later, Dan Hilsman's got 1,000 people. And he's making $500,000 a year in passive income. He's completely retired from selling. He'll never have to sell another house again. Chantel, you've never sold a house in a long time. I haven't sold one in probably 15 years since 2011 was the last time I actually, had to sell a property. And so, we've gotten out of the production, this transaction treadmill, but we were all trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. This, to me, unless you have a lot of cash sitting aside, or you're making a really high income and you have, sheltered your taxes as much as you can, it's going to take you 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to create enough passive income that you could do that in 3 to 5 years here, without having to make the investment, without actually having to have the income. It's, there's no cost associated with recruiting an agent. And so that's why the opportunity is so big. It never existed before in the history of real estate. And, these other companies are not going to survive. There's all these agents are coming to EXP, or they're coming to one of the other models, but they're not going to stay where they're at. And so the next, my opportunity since I've been here was the 90,000 agents that are here. Your opportunity is the next 400,000 that are going to be coming over the next 5 years. You got a bigger opportunity than I had.
Guys, I just want to interrupt for just a second, and I want you to hear Paul Saladino talk about why liver is so important. And if you don't like liver, we have another option for you.
Your ancestors were eating liver. And the reason that this sort of wisdom has been passed down is because liver is very nutritious. It's basically nature's multivitamin. If you look at the nutrients in meat, they're great. You've got zinc, you got B6, you got B12, you got some K2. But if you look at liver, it really complements what's in muscle meat. And there are many unique nutrients found in organs, specifically liver as a powerhouse of these, that are difficult to obtain outside of liver. Like meat and organs are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together. They're supposed to be eaten together. The easiest way to eat liver is just to do it raw. If you don't want to eat liver raw, you can cook it. But the reason that I like to do it raw is because there are unique nutrients in liver that are probably somewhat degraded when you cook the liver.
This really is like the most nutrient-rich supplements that you can find, and they are amazing. I have tried them. I absolutely love them. So just go to heartandsoil.co, use the coupon code Chantel Ray, and save you some money there.
So I want to say one thing, and that is revenue is for vanity, profit is for sanity.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to understand, when you make a higher income, it's not the only factor that determines success. It's not how much money you make, but it's how much money you keep and how hard it works for you and your generations for beyond. And my thing is this. We have spent at Canzel, we spent over $2 million on technology. At one point, we had 6 full-time web developers that we had to keep everything functioning and growing. All of the admin staff, all of the money, every time we got to 20 states, anytime someone from a new state wanted to open up, now I have to pay all that money. It's thousands of dollars to get into the MLS. So it's like, again, I finally had to make the decision that I go, okay, here's the thing. Revenue is for vanity. Profit is for sanity. And as we grew bigger and bigger and bigger, the profit was not increasing. The profit was going down. And so I had to make the decision, listen, we have to still be able to be very highly profitable as well. And so that was a big factor for me in making this decision, and
100%.
me going, okay, with 7 levels. And like you said, it still has to be in a place where you can take, everyone can still grow and everyone can take it to the next level.
And the truth is, the operations and all of that, that's the hardest part. And a lot of these companies haven't gotten to the place that it was rocky, right? To have operations dialed in across all 50 states and to be able to deliver, pay your agents on time, have great, resources for all your agents, great training, great, state by state, all the changes that happen, like to get that machine running, you're going to go through some growing pains where, man, we had the wrong hire in this place. We had the wrong hire in that place. And so like this platform of EXP, it's already vetted, it's already in place, the team's already in place, great people around. Now you can just go do what you love. Go focus on not having to, you don't have to worry about the operations side of this. If that's in place, you're on a platform where the opportunity is now you can go sell more real estate, you can go recruit agents and get paid, and you don't have, you don't have to go build it yourself, right? And so it's leveraging this model that, and that's, for me, it was like my ego. The only reason I wouldn't have joined EXP would have been my ego. And I would have been, well, I can go build that. And that's what I would have tried to do. But then I said, well, do I want 2,000 employees? And do I want to manage that every day? Is that where my fulfillment comes from? No, it isn't. And so, joining, something that was already built made more sense than trying to build it. And so, that's, that now we can focus on, and Chantel can focus on now, adding more value to her people, as opposed to every day being in operations meetings, trying to, keep the wheels between the ditches while you're trying to grow a business. It's just a different, a different mindset that you get to be in. You get to actually be, having conversations every day with agents and helping solve their problems, as opposed to worrying about operations. This is what I know. Like, if you can get the 50 agents in your organization, you can get to 500. If you can get to 500, you can get to 5,000. This is that simple. Like, it's just a matter of, how do I get to my first 50 and staying focused on that? Because once you get to 50 agents in your organization, there will be 3 to 5 people that are recruiting more than you will, right? There's going to be 3 to 5 people in your organization, no matter who you are and how you attracted them, that say, show me again how you're making 400 grand a month. That's what I want to do. It's not going to be all of them, but there will be a couple that are, and those people will start helping you grow. And that is the process, identifying our leaders, and it's leaders creating leaders, creating leaders. We teach them a process. They follow that process. They teach their people that process. They follow that process. If everybody does that, this thing duplicates. If one of us, for instance, I use GoGo as an example. GoGo's amazing. I cannot do what GoGo does. If y'all haven't followed GoGo, GoGo's great. She is articulate. She's beautiful. She's funny. She's smart, wicked smart. I cannot do on social media what GoGo can do. Can't do it. So that's great that she can do that, but her people that she brings the EXP can't be GoGo either. So it doesn't duplicate being GoGo. So that doesn't necessarily translate to attracting agents. It does for her, but it doesn't duplicate. Does that make sense? So the system, the process has to be duplicatable, so simple that anyone can follow it. The only thing you have to learn how to do is invite. You invite people to a live presentation, you invite people to a live event, or you invite people to watch a video. If you can just get people excited enough to watch a video, not try to recruit them to EXP. The video that we use it's on the website, on the Honey Badger Nation website, is about how to grow their business. It's not about how to recruit. It's not about how to build passive income. We're approaching people where they're at. I'm here and I want to go to here in my production. And we show them how we're going to help them do that. Oh, by the way, there's also this opportunity to create passive income. And so that's the approach we take. But if you invite people to that presentation and then they watch it, and you can track and see that they watched it, and then you put them on a call with me or Chantel, and they have a conversation with us, and we unpack their goals and where they want to go and where they, how they want to get there. They're going to, at the end of that call, 80% of the time, if they watch that video, they're going to be like, what's the next step? And they're going to come join us, because they're going to see that this is a better way for them to accomplish their financial goals with our help as their business partners than where they're currently at. That's the process. It's that simple. Where people make mistakes in recruiting is they go out and they try to talk about EXP. Well, guess what? Everybody thinks they know what EXP is. What they don't know is they don't know what partnering with all of us at EXP is. It's completely different, because you get a whole lot more by being partnered with us than you do if you just join EXP somewhere under somebody else. And so it's just learning that process is the key to building in real estate and building your revenue share. Follow the process, be a good student, follow the process, and you'll be able to attract agents. And once you realize I'm not selling EXP, I'm not trying to recruit you. I'm just trying to get to know where you're at, what you're trying to accomplish, get you to consume enough information to be interested. And then I'm letting somebody else make the sell. And the beauty of these 3-way calls, and people don't get it. I did 1,000 actually in my schedule once. I did 999. My first year, I did 999 3-way calls. I felt like I did a lot more than that. So that's not that many when you divide it by the days, but it was 999 3-way calls. The beauty of a 3-way call is if somebody's interested and they say, yeah, I'd like to know more. Hey, well, I know this, this person that, that's really killing it at EXP. They're great. If I could get them on a call to answer any questions, would you be willing to jump on with them? They don't look at me as someone that's trying to recruit them. they don't make the connection that I'm in their revenue share group and I would win if they come over. But if you're trying to recruit somebody, they feel like, oh, you're just trying to recruit me. That's how you feel when you're getting recruited. And so whenever you put them on a call with somebody that's I'm going to win. If you recruit them, I win. They're going to win. Ultimately, the agent that invited them is going to win, and I'm going to win. So by that three-way call is non-threatening. It's non-threatening. They're just like, wow, I can't believe this guy jumped on the call and he's actually trying to help me. And so they don't feel that the guard's not up like, oh no, you're just trying to recruit me. They're actually listening to, how we might be able to help them best. And so that's a real secret weapon. We learned this from network marketing. Brian Carruthers wrote a book called Building an Empire. I devoured that book, learned the principles, applied, adapted, adopted, applied it, built the training around it. And that's how we do agent attraction. We invite, they consume enough information to know what the actual offer is. And then you put them on a call with someone else and let them close them. And that, the people that I know will make the most money revenue share are the people I see in my calendar the most, period. And at a certain point, you'll be able to, you listen to me do that call 15 times, you can do that call. And you'll be doing that
and we're going to have live calls where you can just invite people to the live call. We're going to and they're going to be called Double Your Business. That's it. That's going to be the name of the thing. Hey, I have a live call that we're doing with Chantel and Jay that's called How to Double Your Business. Will you be able to come on that call? And guess what? All we're asking you to do is to get people on that call. And then if they go, hey, I'm finding value from this, right? Then they will then end up being able to, go in your downline with very little effort from you. We're doing a lot of that heavy lifting for you. In addition, right now, we've bought a bunch of tickets to EXPCon. So you can go to the live event at EXPCon that's coming up. The ticket will be free for you. And if you have someone that you want to bring with you, that we'll pay for their ticket. The tickets are $1,000.
$1,000, yeah.
So it's going to be a serious event. The speakers are like huge speakers. I mean, they're paying $20,000, $30,000 just for some of these speakers to come on. And that's why the event costs so much, because it's expensive to bring some of these big.
Yeah, everybody's goal should be, especially since you don't have to pay for it, for sure. You should be like, who do I know that I can invite that would be absolutely kill it at this agent attraction? Because you're going to get paid off the people they bring anyway. So you look for who that best person is, invite that person. Every one of you should have one or two people that you're inviting and taking advantage. Those tickets should be gone tomorrow. Like, y'all should be working on getting who is the person that I would invite, that, because if they get there and they spend 3 days, I learned this from Dan Kennedy, and Dan Kennedy's like selling stuff from the room, information marketer. He's one of the greatest marketers of all time. And it's time spent with you equals money spent with you. So when you're doing these big events and you're selling product, the more time people spend with you, the more likely they are to spend their money with you. And it's the same thing when you get somebody to the live event. They're going to bump into people and they're going to have conversations, and it's all going to be positive, and it's just going to move the needle faster for them to make the decision. They're not going to leave there going, I don't want to join that. They're going to be like, man, that felt different. Like, I got a ton of value out of that. Every person I talk to loves it. Like, it does all the selling for you. And so, I highly, highly, highly recommend. The best people I ever recruited EXP all came to a live event. And one of them was Vincent Koo, and he had a brokerage. He had 3 exit realty brokerages. He came to an event, didn't know really anybody there. One of my guys invited him to it, and he was sitting next to Rob Flick, doesn't know who Rob Flick is, and he's like, "Hey, how's this revenue share thing working for you?" And Rob was making at the time $500,000 or $600,000 a month, that was just by happenstance, by him asking a question, and he's like, "You got to be kidding me, right?" Like. And so when they bump into all these success stories of people that are having success, whether it's on production or revenue share, you can't leave there and ignore like what you saw. You just can't. So it is the thing that moves the needle the most. And if you want to get a jump start on revenue share, the more people you can get to EXPCon, the better. And I highly recommend making sure, you introduce them to people like me and anybody else that's in our org that y'all know, and let us have conversations with them and help you get those people. Because the truth is, all we really want to do is help people. Like, genuinely, the spirit of every human being that I'm in alignment with at EXP, we actually care and we actually want to help people, right? I actually believe you're better off coming here and letting us try to help you than going anywhere else financially.
And I want you to kind of say, like, there's other companies out there that maybe that someone could join. And explain, some people would say, oh, well, they're, newer and people are excited about it and this and that.
Yeah.
Why would someone not want to join them?
There's a couple things. I think there's always going to be a number one and a number two. We can think about all the major brands in every category that there is. There's always a number one and there's always usually a distant number two, but there's always a number one and number two. There's rarely a number 3 and 4 and 5. So these startups, Epic, LPT, they're all struggling. They're all struggling to be cash flow positive because their models are actually way, way less profitable as it is. So even as they grow, they're not making money and they have to change their model. We had to do the same thing. We had to make changes along the way. They're going to have to make massive changes. So the big threat when you join one of these companies, and it was for us when we joined EXP, we had to consider this, is we have no control. They can change anything at any time and there's nothing we can do about it. And so that's the reality is that those models are all going to have to change because they are not profitable and they cannot possibly be profitable on the current model that they're selling people on. So, you're either going to be grandfathered into whatever they offered you, which means everybody else that you're bringing on is now getting sold on something that you get that they don't, which is not a good place to be. Or everybody's going to take a hit and in order for the company to survive and whatever they pitched you is not what you're going to be getting ultimately. And so that change is absolutely going to happen. It did for us. The difference with us is it changed in ways where as key leaders in the company, they invited all of us and got our feedback. And we said, what's more important is maintaining our growth. And if that means that those of us that are getting paid a whole lot of money should get paid a little bit less in order to make sure everyone else is winning, we all agree to that. And that's kind of the culture of EXP. We don't know what's going to happen with some of these companies. Some of them will make it and be successful. Some of them won't. But the real truth is do they have the people there that can help you with growing your business, or are they selling you on a pipe dream? If they're selling you on the stock and you're going to get rich on the stock, it's a red flag for me because the stock is not. There's no prediction of and that's what Real is doing. That they're selling on a pipe dream. We were the first cloud-based company. We wanted to be valued on NASDAQ as a technology company, and we are not. We are valued as a real estate company, just as Real is, and they always will be. Fintech is not going to change the valuation of the economics of that business model. The way they get paid is through real estate sales, period. So it's a pipe dream, and you're selling opportunity. When you're selling opportunity, you just have to know that you may or may not come true. You're selling something that doesn't exist. So a lot of people get excited that maybe I'm going to get lucky and that stock's going to go through the roof and I'm going to get rich. That's not a good decision. In my opinion, that's, it's not a good way to sell. You want to join somewhere where you feel that there's an actionable plan for me to go from my A to my B, and I know how I'm going to get there and who are the people that's going to help me do that. That's what you're looking for. And so, if you're getting sold on hype, which is what a lot of these models are doing, is we're the next DXP. Okay. Maybe not, that's to be determined. That's the thing that I would be careful about, because nailing operations at scale, really hard to do. Like really, really hard to do. Lots of things have to go right. You got to make the right hires. And if you ain't making any money while you're doing it, you're burning cash, and your investors are going to start telling you what decisions to make, which is going to be Real's case. They're not going to be in control of that company. The board is going to make decisions that's not in alignment with agents because they don't have control of the company. The investors do. The investors want to return. Y'all aren't making money. What are you going to do to make money? Oh, what is Compass? Listen to Compass's earnings calls. And Compass's earnings calls, the last 3 years, they have talked about how they're going to take more from the agent publicly as the way to profitability in that model. We're cutting expenses and we're going to take more from the agents. That's the damn company saying out loud and publicly to the investors that have invested in them that we're going to just take money from these stupid agents that don't seem to know that we're not looking out for their best interest. We're just trying to turn a profit for our investors. That's not what's best for agents. That means you're a frog in a boiling pot and they're going to take from you. And so that's not EXP. We're the only debt-free company that's publicly traded and profitable. And the decisions that Glenn makes for this company start running through filter number one. Is this better for our agents? Yes or no? It's not based on, what do the investors want to see with the stock? that's just a dangerous place to be in because you just don't know what it's going to be and if they're going to survive. So that's my 2 cents on that.
And I think the first 3 levels opening up, when you showed how much money you were making from all of your levels, but also having level 1, 2, and 3 open up right away, I don't think people realize how huge that is. It's such a huge piece.
Yeah.
And not only that, having level 6 and 7 and you showing how much money you made on level 6 and 7 is absolutely huge. Well,
Yep.
We are out of time. We are going to do some more live calls, and I want to really remind you how all you have to do right now is to be able to invite people. We're going to be doing another call called How to Double Your Business. All we're asking you to do is to invite people to that call, and we will help do some of the heavy lifting for you. So
think of it this way, guys. Like we all know in real estate, like it's the amount of conversations a day we have with buyers or sellers. It's going to determine how many appointments we set. That's going to determine how many deals we get under contract. It's going to lead to the lagging indicator of our income. It's the same thing with recruiting. It's how many people did you invite today? How many conversations did you have where you invited somebody to and start tracking that metric as it relates to these live calls. And that's going to be the determining factor of whether you generate revenue share. And it's fundamentally just a leading indicator of success. Invites is going to be the first thing. If you're not inviting, you're not going to get revenue share. If you're not having conversations, you're never going to recruit an agent. So make that part. It's just another revenue stream you have access to. Don't change what you're doing. Keep selling, keep doing the things related to your production side. Just add this as a new, okay, every time I talk to an agent, I'm showing a property. Every time I bump into an agent at an event, I'm going to have a conversation and I'm going to invite them to this call. It's just free.
Inviting them to this event. The tickets are $1,000 a piece. We bought 25 tickets that we're wanting you to give away. 25, that's $25,000 that we have that you can get completely for free and invite people to it.
Yeah, right, that's huge. So yeah, hey, it's a blessing to be on here with you guys. And I mean it when I say this, like I'm accessible. If you guys need something, you need me for anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I want to see y'all win. And so I genuinely mean that. And I'm never too busy. People think I'm busy. I'm really not that busy. So I'm happy to jump on a call or answer questions or anything. Definitely go through the training that's there that I posted in the chat. I think that will help give you some clarity. And yeah, I mean, the opportunity to have your best life is right in front of you. And I would do anything I can to help make sure that happens. So one team, one dream.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Real Life Leadership. If you'd like to get the show notes or access more resources, log on to reallifeleaders.com/podcast to get the show notes from this episode and any other resources we might have mentioned. And also, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to review or rate this podcast on Apple Podcasts to help spread the word. And if you have any leadership questions you want answered, email podcast@reallifeleaders.com.